So it is my duty to make you magnificent performers. Let me try. As usual, I shall start with an invocation, following which all of us together will be chanting the auspicious monosyllable to bless the entire world, all the creatures upon the earth. Shuddho buddho vimuktaha Shrutishikharagiram mukhyatatparya bhumihi Yasmajjatam samastam Jagadidam amrtadvyapya sarvam sthito yaha Yasyam sham shabhataraihi Suranaravanajairekshitam sarvametad Tam bhumanam mukundam Hridigatam amalam Krishnameva prapadye Tam bhumanam mukundam Hridigatam amalam Krishnameva prapadye Madhya hridaya kashe Sadanandamayo Guru Udedu satatam samyak Swatmananda prabodhakaha Hari 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 Om Das. I would like all of you to understand, particularly the youth of the world, youngsters, young boys and girls of the world. This Om is a combination of three swaras. A, U and M. A, U, O, M, Om. See how much buoyant it is? This Omkara recitation has got biological effects. It increases the longevity and health of the heart. It has some other spiritual purposes. To the extent it is possible to know, I can tell you that it will activate the pineal gland, which secretes melatonin. The effect of melatonin is not fully known, but it is supposed to have a great degree of contribution towards the health and vigor, the brilliance of the personality, particularly the health and well-being of the brain. Understand it well. So when I am asking you to chant Omkara with me, don't miss the benefits that you are sure to have. It's a safeguard against many of the brain disorders, especially in old age. Now we shall recite. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close the eyes. Open the mouth and heart and join me. Hari Om Das. Well done. The subject for today's talk for me is how to be a magnificent performer. Magnificent performer. All of you are performers, individually a performer. But when I ask you, are you a magnificent and a majestic performer? I don't think anybody will come up and say, yes, I am. Because Most of you do not know that there is something called magnificence in the pursuit of performance. Our external body is very limited. It stops growing at the age of latest 21 years, as I have often pointed. Then the body begins to decline. Then for the rest of the decades of your life, tell me what in you is supposed to grow and get enriched, elevated. It can only be the mind and intelligence which constitute the inner personality. This magnificence is a quality and a grace the inner personality must cultivate, imbibe, manifest, display. Are you conscious of it? I am sure you are not. By virtue of our GBGC, I think all of you are quite capable of saying, yes, we are conscious of it. But not people generally outside the orbit of the GBGC. They only know about the body. And the science of the body rests with the doctors. So they know nothing about the body. They are ignorant. About the inner personality, mind and intelligence, they are not aware of also. It literally means that we are all tottering in ignorance, in delusion. When are we going to shed it and outlive our ignorance? The performer will be able to gain magnificence, superlative measure of magnificence, only when he is able to handle the mind, the key for the performance, and make it harmonious. Mind is generally disharmonious, uneven, imbalanced. It is always having ups and downs, decline and incline, decline and incline. When is the mind going to be stable and harmonious? Unless the mind is harmonious, how are you going to perform anything in a beautiful, effective, sustained and fruitful manner? So mental harmony is the key for magnificence in performance. This time our convention, GBGC convention, was specifically aimed at instilling mental harmony in our viewers. The purpose of mental harmony is to make every one of them, young or old, man or woman, maybe on the domestic front or in the professional front or maybe in the large societal front. We want them to conduct themselves magnificently. I always speak of three beautiful phrases. Every one of you must have characteral elegance. You must have elegance in your character. Character is invisible. It is a quality of the mind and the heart and the intelligence. When it becomes manifest, it becomes behavior. That behavioral and majesty you must have. Everybody should be able to appreciate your behavior. Character is unknown unless it becomes behavior. Then you also have to interact with the world, interact with different persons. As I always put it, interact with persons, places and events. There you must have characteral elegance, behavioral majesty and interactional excellence. Excellence. That is where your professional merits and professional excellence count. If you want to have these three, you must have a harmonious mind, a flexible mind, an assimilative mind. A mind which will be capable of assimilating all kinds of interactional impacts. All kinds of interactional impacts. How many times shall I say this? Our life is interactional. When the child is born from the mother's womb into the earth, it begins to interact. That interaction continues until the last breath of the body. Early in the morning we wake up. Instantly interactions start. The interactions are always between the interacting individual you and the rest of the world. When you look at your body, you are interacting with the body through your eyes. You also have to interact with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, knowledge, doubt, ego, and whatnot. Whenever you say interaction, there will be two factors for interacting. Here the first factor is you yourself, the individual, the subject. And then all the rest will be objects of the world, including your body. In this interaction, you must have excellence. Your profession is an excellence, is an interaction. So if you want to be a good performer, that performance is not an epithet of the body. It is not a derivative of the body. The body and the senses are inert, insentient. They are employed by the mind. Any kind of an interaction, including professional one, everything emerges in the mind. It is initiated by the mind, pursued by the mind, employing the body and senses. And all interactions terminate and conclude in the mind. Are you aware of it, my dear viewers? At least be aware of it today, now, and remember it forever. Our interactions do not proceed from the body. They proceed from the mind, subsist on the mind. They conclude in the mind. So if you want to be a magnificent performer, your mind has to be magnificent. It has to be very resourceful, immensely resourceful. Do not shrink or retreat from any situation, calling, or challenge. You must have the presence of mind, the stability, the stoic qualities required to remain stable and go forward, and forward. Never retreat at all. It should be taken away from our thinking. We are people with mind and also intelligence. With the intelligence we know, with the mind we think and employ the senses. If there is a beautiful league between, a bond between the intelligence and the mind, all our performance will be orderly and effective. I would like to initiate you into a thinking. What is thinking? Thinking of your own inner personality. We are speaking of interactional life, professional interactions, interpersonal relationship, etc. All these are for how many hours in a day? Tell me. I said our life is interactional. When are we interactional? A day consists of 24 hours. Out of the 24 hours, I want you to think and come to a conclusion as to how many hours you are interactive. I shall tell you, it can be only something like, the other day I said 1020 minutes, say 16 hours or a little more. The day consists of 24 hours. For the remaining 8 hours, you tell me, what are you doing? Do you have even a body? You are sleeping. While you are in sleep, are you conscious of the body? No. Are you conscious of the world? No. Are you conscious of the mind, intelligence and ego? No. Tell me now whether you have a body or not. If you have a body, it is only for 16 hours of the day. 8 hours you don't have the body. After having been wakeful and intensely active for about 16 hours, the mind within you, what does it do? It completely obliterates, wipes all the interactional imprints in your mind, and it puts you to sleep. In sleep, are you in conjunction with anything or anybody? No. Sleep is an intransitive verb. When you go to sleep, you sleep. You sleep, I sleep. I am not sleeping with anybody. You are not aware of anything at all. Not only that, sleep is self-sufficient. The rich man will sleep. The poor man also sleeps. The educated, the illiterate, the healthy and the unhealthy, all of them are sleeping. And their sleep is alike, uniform. And in sleep, nobody wants anything. Yet, he wakes up to say, I slept comfortably. I slept comfortably. Where from does this comfort come? Have you thought about it? All of you are too busy to think about it. Don't be enamored of your body. Don't be enamored of your activity also. Because your body as well as the activity, interaction, all of them are completely becoming extinct for half your wakeful hours. Tell me now. Tell me now. Our mind and the intelligence which constitute the inner personality, that is the key of our life. Evaluate everything in terms of your mind, in terms of your intelligence, not in terms of the body, the property you have, the wealth you have, and other gains you have. According to me and according to Indian judgment, what is the best form of wealth? How do you get contentment? Knowledge is our greatest wealth. Contentment is our greatest wealth. Contentment is an emotion. As an emotion, it belongs to the mind. How can it come from an object? So you have to be very, very clear and conclusive about it. So when I say mental harmony is the key for magnificent performance, you have to understand quite a lot. Our whole life depends upon the mind. The entire interaction proceeds from subsist on and also concludes in the mind. Sri Krishna throughout Bhagavad Gita has been speaking only about the harmony of the mind. Because when the mind becomes harmonious, everything in this world becomes harmonious with you. You can make yourself harmonious with everything. The entire world consists of pairs of opposites called dvandvas. All the pairs of opposites create in you only sukha and dukkha, one pair. Happiness and unhappiness. Pleasantness and unpleasantness. Now Sri Krishna emphasized right from the second chapter, sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papamavapsisi. My dear souls, you should lend me your ears very well. Listen to me carefully. This war will not incur any sin for you, Arjuna, which you are afraid of, provided you are able to fight it. Sukha dukkhe same krutva. In your mind, let sukha and dukkha, happiness and unhappiness be evenly looked into. Treat them harmoniously. One alternates with the other. One brings the other. One drives the other away. Either they coexist or they co-perish. You cannot have sukha alone, nor can you have a negation of dukkha. Both are mutual and complements. Therefore, be harmonious with them. Drop your preference to sukha and take away your prejudice towards dukkha and be harmonious. This harmony, when you are able to cultivate in your mind, what will happen? The entire life and interactions will become harmonious. The interactional results, impacts also you will become harmonious with. See, in the 7th chapter, verse number 27, Ichhadvesha samuthena dvandvamohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parandava. Please listen to it carefully. You can consult this verse. The insights of Bhagavad Gita will help you. Ichhadvesha samuthena dvandvamohena bharata. Every being, not to speak of human alone, at the time of birth, every being is gripped by a delusion, born out of ichha and dvesha, love and hatred. Take a newborn child. Put something bitter into the tongue. It will say, put something sweet into the tongue. In the child it is there. Desire and hatred, love and hatred, attraction and repulsion. These are inborn in everybody. I am not going to blame anybody for that. We are all born with that. But why are we born? To yield to them or to sublimate them and overwhelm them? This friction is given to us so that we will overcome it and have a smooth movement. It is like friction. Ihaivatayirjita sargo yesham samye sthidam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmanite sthidaha. I have to be brief, so I will not spend much time in explaining them. This is 19th verse in 5th chapter. Ihaivatayirjita sargo. Arjuna, the entire creation, the metempsychosis, the manifold world is won over by that person. Esham samye sthidam manaha, whose mind is established, dwells in samya, equipoise, evenness, harmony. Whose mind is established in harmony, evenness, uniformity, that man has overcome the entire creation. I told you this Samadukha Sukha is the key Krishna and Bhagavad Gita have offered for you to win over the world and be a master of your life. Ihaivatayirjita sargo yesham samye sthidam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmanite sthidaha. Brahman, the supreme reality, is called Sama. It is always equally present everywhere, equidistant to everyone. Everywhere it is present. That Brahman is Samam. Its characteristic is equalness. Because the mind is established in equalness, automatically it means you are in Brahman. It is a Brahmasthiti. Brahmasthiti. Esha Brahmi Sthidihi, which Sri Krishna described in the last sloka of the 2nd chapter. This Samya, Samatva or evenness, you should develop it subjectively, not necessarily with reference to Sukha and Dukkha. It is a formula, it is a discipline, it is an orientation, it is a refinement, it is a sublimation which you have to develop towards all other things. Look at this verse number 9 of the 6th chapter. Suhran mitra yudasina madhyastha dveshya bandhushu sadhushu apicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyade. The one who has got samabuddhi, that equal vision, it is a characteristic of the intelligence, samabuddhi, vishishyade. He excels. Where is the Samatva here? Related to Suhrd, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshi, Bandhushu. A benefactor friend, an ordinary friend, an enemy, an impartial man, a mediator, people who hate, people who are friends and relatives. In general, sadhushvapicha papeshu, the good and the noble and the bad and the ignoble. Make an ample provision in your mind. Mark my words. I don't want you to welcome them to your house or family. Make an ample provision in your mind for the existence and prevalence of all these people around you. Frown at none. Be destabilized by none. Make your heart large enough. Make your mind broad enough to assimilate all people. Give the people the freedom to hate you and say, I have the freedom still to love you and accommodate you. My doors are open. The moment you drop your enmity towards me, please come, I welcome you. Can you not enlarge your mind like this? We are told, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Your biological family is your home, but your mental family is the whole universe. I have got a universal family. I am a member of the universe. I am a world citizen. That kind of a feeling you must have. In the second chapter he says, Yas sarvatra anabhisneha tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinamdadi nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. This is 57th verse. Whoever is anabhisneha, you know what it means? Abhisneha means your love and concern focused on in a small circle. I myself, my parents, brothers, sisters. I don't think many more. All our blood relationship is over. Then matrimonial relationship, cousin, brothers, sisters, etc. So generally, we are focused on our own family. That selfishness, that small circle drawn from the I, should be outlived by the mind. And you must be able to encompass more and more people. In the modern professional language, they call it inclusiveness. You have to include more and more people. I am living in a village or a town. There are other houses nearby. Some are neighbors, some are relatives. But we are all villagers. We are all people of the same town, of the same state, of the same country, of the same world, of the same earth. The earlier you strike this universal dimension, the better you will be a performer. When the mind expands, the expanded mind will be focusing on your performance. Can you imagine? Suppose you perform with a 2 square inch mind and you are able to perform with what? A 100 meter square mind. Tell me, will there not be a difference in your performance? Your body is not going to increase in size, but the mind can increase to any extent. Sky is the limit. Yes, sarvatra anabhisneha. So don't be an anabhisneha. Have a larger sense, an expansion of your mind. Tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandadi nadveshti. See the Samatva and the harmony. Nabhinandadi nadveshti shubhashubham prapya. As you live right within your family, in the professional front, with your juniors and seniors, etc. In the society, when you travel in public transport particularly, you will always have to interact with others. In all these places, you will find a number of welcome developments and unwelcome developments. Things which you like and things which you do not like. Whether it is liked or disliked, nabhinamdadi nadveshti. Tell the mind very clearly, have an equal welcome for both. Drop your preference and prejudice. Preference and prejudice. Drop your love and hatred. The double attitude don't have. Try to have a uniform outlook, an all-embracing outlook. Nabhinamdadi nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. His wisdom, his intelligence, his consciousness becomes stable. He becomes a sthita prajna. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukhadukhadaha agamapayino anityaha tan tidikshasva bharata. This I have explained. I believe Nutun Swamiji also has spoken to you about it. Our whole life is an interaction. With whatever you interact, it is interaction at the level of the senses, between the senses and the objects. The objects may be infinite, plural, but the interacting subjects, interacting senses are only 5. So the entire world, however huge and multifarious it may be, our interactions with the world are 5-fold. And these 5-fold interactions get reduced into mental responses in the way of sukha and dukkha, happiness and unhappiness. So you tell me, shall I get up to make you understand this point? In the whole of your interactions, whether they are in the domestic front, professional front, or societal front, The resultant of all these interactions are only two, pleasant and unpleasant, and that too where? In the mind. If you develop a sense of harmony towards these, have you not developed a harmony towards the entire world? The world is won over by you. All the inhibitions, restraints, psychological constraints, intellectual tufts, all of them dissolve. You have a beautiful inner framework, a very resourceful mind, a very enlightened intelligence, before which all problems will be easily resolved. You will become a master in the world, not a slave or a servant. My dear world, what do you have to give me? I am interacting with you. You are inert. You are lifeless. I look at the wall. I look at a tree. I look at an elephant. I look at them. Does the world look at me? Certainly not. World has no eyes to see. I alone have eyes to see. So I am interacting with the world. The world doesn't interact with me. When you interact with the world, is not the key with you to regulate it, to embellish it, to enrich it, to empower it, to enlighten it. Where is the key? The key is with you, not with anybody else. Not with anybody else. So when you are able to develop mental harmony towards sukha-dukkhas, resulting from all the dvandvas, pairs of opposites in the world, which constitute the world, where do you stand, my dear souls? Are you not on the top of the world? The world is under your feet and you become on top. Elevate yourself. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. This elevation is what Krishna repeatedly emphasizes. That is what he did for Arjuna in a matter of a few moments. The crying Arjuna stopped his tears and he became inquisitive. He started questioning. And the dialogue went on extending because Arjuna questioned, sought more and more pertinent information. This Samatva attitude he began from the 2nd chapter. Now in the 15th chapter, how many chapters afterwards? 13 chapters. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha samjaihi gachandya mudha padam avyayam tad. What a beautiful verse. I would like to explain it. Maybe I will take even half an hour, but I am not going to explain that much. I only wanted to tell you the harmony of the mind which Krishna referred to in the 2nd chapter, right in the beginning. It is the same harmony that he concludes as he advances further and further. In the 15th chapter he says, Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha samjaihi gachanti amudhaha padamavyayam tad. The seeker, the studious student, he attains the supreme abode. Supreme abode. Dvandvair vimuktaha. Free from the hold of dvandvas, the pairs of opposites. Which are the pair of opposites? Sukha dukkha samjnaihi. He becomes freed from sukha and dukkha. Can you imagine a state when one does not look for sukha and dukkha? Suppose I say, you extend before me a mountain measure of gold, and I say, I don't want, please take it yourself. Do you know what is my position? I have something greater than what you offer. When you are psychologically you reach a state where you don't want either sukha or dukkha, you already have transcended them. You are more resourceful. You can trample over sukha and dukkha. So it generates in you a psychological sufficiency, a spiritual affluence, a spiritual opulence, as a result of which you can say, nothing, all at tuppence. No, I don't want. Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha samjnaihi gacchantya moodha padamavyayam tad. Now, how do you interact in this world? Beautifully Krishna explains. Abhuryamanam achala pratishtham samudram apah pravishanti yadvad tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kamakami. A man who goes on indulging in desires, that man is useless. Useless. He is a minus personality. On the other hand, look at the man who is interacting with this world vibrantly, actively, confidently, vigorously, dedicatedly, with commitment, with perseverance. How? Abhuryamanam achala pratishtham samudram apah pravishanti yadvad. Think of the sea, endless seas, almost full to the brim. How many rivers are flowing into the sea from various mountains and peaks? Some of the rivers, when they enter the sea, you will be surprised. It may overflow, but it does not. When in Dibrugarh, I went to see Brahmaputra river, I was on one bank. I was not able to see the other bank. It is more than 9 miles wide at that point. Can you imagine a huge river? Such river also is flowing into the sea, constantly being filled by the flow of the rivers. The sea remains stable, poised. It does nothing. Receives the inflow, passes the salinity, throws the slush down, makes whole water, the sea water, saline. This is the way of assimilation. You must be able to assimilate all impacts of interactions. Never say X has caused something, Y has caused something. Somebody abused you. That man has abused you. You have heard it. What harm is there? He has done the wrong. Let him repent for it. You simply dissolve it. Like the sea dissolving the inflow of rivers. Suppose you think further, what happens? The sea is saline water. It cannot flow further because it is the lowest level. How is it that the rivers are coming? They are coming from the mountain top. How did the water go to the mountain top? Sun's rays falling on the sea, the surface got heated. There was vaporization. The vapor rose up. It became cloud, different colors, etc. Hovering in the sky, it was blown here and there. It went up and got cooled. That it comes back in the form of snow or water. Wherever it has shed water, in the form of small rivulets, water particles collected themselves and started flowing. Joined by so many other seminal flows, it became a little rivulet, then started descending, becoming river, broader, deeper. What? Ultimately, the sea is water and the river also is water. The confluence cannot create any conflict at all. Both are the same. In the same manner, my dear souls, hear me very clearly and attentively, because it is going to work a revolution in your mind. All interactions are proceeding from you, subsisting in you, and the interactional impacts are not of the objects. Impacts are mind's own responses. No object from the world can never ever enter into your system. Objects remain in their own places. You interact, and interactional imprints, interactional impacts are your own mind's responses. So what do you have to be dissolve and be harmonious with? The mind has to be harmonious with its own imprints and its own responses. Like the sea, can it not do it? So many waves are arising in the sea surface. The waves are nothing but water. Let it be a bore. Therefore what? It's all the sea water. It will rise, it will come down also, subside. Let there be any impact from anybody. So far as I am concerned, it is all my mind's own responses. So your mind has to assimilate only its own impacts. its own impressions and imprints. What difficulty is there? Consider the mind to be water and consider the turbulence to be like that created by the waves. Is there any conflict there? Any disparity there? Remain stable, stable, stable. Be poised, be deep, be profound, be exalted, be magnificent, majestic, mighty, mighty. No object from the world can enter you. It's all your perception, your reaction. Your perception and your reaction arising from where? From the mind. Subsiding where? In the mind. How many thoughts have come up? All of them have subsided. How many reactions emerged? All of them have subsided. Any product of the mind knows only dissolution. Every product of the mind emerges only to be dissolved. Every day you sleep, the entire body is forgotten. World is forgotten. Somebody might have died, still after some time you will go to sleep. If the mind can obliterate the entire world impressions in you, can it not obliterate your own responses to the world? Tadvad kamayam pravishamti sarve sashanti mapnodi na kama kami. It is not the desiring man, the begging man, the cheap human. He doesn't attain anything. Understand your inner profundity, inner abundance, inner measure and magnitude. Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruha vidaraga bhayakrodha stidadhir muniruchyade. Verse 56 of 2nd chapter. Any extent of misery, what of it? What of it? Misery is something that comes to me after happiness, and the misery is driving me to happiness. Every unhappiness is in between two happinesses. Therefore, what is there in the misery? It has come only to go, only to go. So get immersed in dukkha. Similarly, get dipped in sukha also. Dukkheshvanudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruha. Never crave for pleasantness. It will come by itself. And never be afraid of dukkha. That will also come and go. This is an understanding that arises in the intelligence. Use the intelligence to sublimate the mind. Nothing else in this world can sublimate the mind, enrich and empower the mind. Vita raga bhaya krodha. Vita raga bhaya krodha. Transcend desire, hatred and fear. Stidadhir muniruchyade. Have a stable intellect. Become a great reflective person, spiritually reflective, and be great, grand. I am going to tell you a truth. What is the truth? Listen to me carefully. Whenever you wake up, tell me from where you have woken up. You have woken up from sleep. At the end of the wakefulness, where do you go to? You go to sleep. Like dream which emerges from sleep, waking also emerges from sleep. Dream is followed by wakefulness, so it is falsified. Sleep is followed by, wakefulness is followed by, did I say wrongly? I don't know. From dream you wake up, so it is falsified. From wakefulness you go to sleep, that is also falsifying wakefulness. Wakefulness which has come from sleep and which goes into sleep. Tell me what is its source and terminus. Can you trust this wakefulness? So many people are wakeful at the same time. That is why we have a common world. But all of those who are sleeping during your wakefulness, are they not sleeping? Are they not sleeping and they don't see the world at all? So for the world to be seen, one has to be wakeful first. Wakefulness and sleep do not belong to the world, belong to you. So what is the source of wakefulness? Your own sleep. And in sleep, who is there? I is there. So the world is the product of the I, the self. Sarvabhutastham atmanam sarvabhutani chadmani. What is the meaning? The entire world is floating as a bubble in you. The entire world perceptionally is floating on you like a bubble. Bubble. Tell me, what is your magnificence now? Are you limited by the body? No. No. I am not limited. I am enriched by my mind. My mind is not part of the body. It is associated with the body, that's all. Sleep is the source of everything. It obliterates everything else. The sleep also is half your wakefulness. Sushuptavat prashamita bhava vrittina sthidam sada jagradiyena chetasa kalanvido vidhurivayas sada muda nishevyate mukta iti hasasmrata. My dear souls, this is the way for you to be a master of the world, mistress of the world, to be a magnificent performer. Sushuptavat prashamita bhava vrittina. Reflect upon the sleep. Import the benefit of the sleep. Understand your subjective profundity and magnificence, and let the world, constricted world, be sublimated by your subjectivity. Kalanvido vidhurivaya sada mudani shevyade. Then what do you have to do? Just like the moon, it waxes and wanes. But the brilliance never vanishes. Never vanishes. On the new moon day, it is like the death of a human being. When the body dies, the soul never dies. So you may wax and wane, but you are still brilliant. Like that you live in this world. He is called a Jivan Mukta. He is got a magnificent performer. Shashina cha nisha, nishaya cha shashi, shashina nishaya cha vibhati nabha. Payasa kamalam kamalena payasa kamalena vibhati saraha. Be a lotus in the lake of water. The lotus adds beauty to water, and the water also makes the lotus shine better. The moon shines and darkness shows its beauty. And both of them together make the Akasha sparkle. In the same manner, being enlightened, being a magnificent performer, enrich the world, help the world. Let the world be benefited by your wisdom and enlightened activity. Tell the world, you throw me into any situation, you cannot add a plus to me, you cannot inflict a minus on me. My body is full, my mind is full, my intelligence is full, my ego is full, my soul is full. My dear world, you can do nothing to me. Be a glorious performer, a magnificent performer, also a magnificent enjoyer and sufferer. What more do you want? Be like a pot thrown into the sky. It is empty, free inside. Outside also it is free with the expansive sky. Fill the pitcher and put it into the sea. It is inside full as well as outside full. My dear souls, this is your fullness that you carry. Antashunyo bahishunyah shunya kumbhaivambare antapurno bahipurnah purna kumbha ivarnave. So, it is the harmony of the mind that makes you a magnificent performer, equally a magnificent enjoyer and sufferer. Never fail, never feel reluctant. Do not be tired. You have infinite resources within the mind and the intelligence. Our organization is named Center for Inner Resources Development because our pursuit and propagation, dissemination is about the resources that you have inwardly. People always speak of the resources of the earth, air, water, etc. We are speaking about the inner resources that you have. I believe if all the youth in our country, in all the countries where this is being seen, I only have to tell you, if you are really youthful and you are prepared to understand and rise to a position of greatness, do not miss the lessons or inner resources development. Know more about this center, participate in the center's activity, join them like our young MCs this time. All of you try to get enlisted. Tell us what we are to do so that you can be enriched and refined. Let us take away the fear from you, doubt from you, apprehension and suspicion from you. Let us install an inexhaustible reservoir, a tower of strength, inspiration, confidence, and inclusiveness in everybody. Help us. I wanted to tell you, this time I have prepared something called Moksha Sadhana, the pursuit of freedom. The translation is the pursuit. How to pursue the inner freedom. So a few verses from Bhagavad Gita are taken. The translation and also a little commentary is given. It also carries a beautiful introduction. It is available and all people will be given circulation. All those people who are registered this program, as I had already informed them, I propose to write them a message. Every month, at least one message. The idea is to give them a knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, chapter by chapter, drawing their attention to the important verses. Thereby, they can become more and more familiar with Gita and finally become masters in the whole world while they are living. I hope it will be a beneficial proposition. Understand it and expect it. Remind me also. I have concluded my session. I would like to embrace all of you, our viewers, mentally and bless you. I have something specific to say. I would like you to have good children and grandchildren born in your family. All of them should have love for the family, love for the society. They must also have ample faith in God. Every one of them should study well, equip their inner resources, and contribute to the productivity of their own nation as well as the globe. And let us make the world a prosperous, peaceful, and fulfilling world. My blessings for this, for all of you.